You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
Hello, very good evening to you and welcome to the Football Zone, the Scottish Football Zone on a Wednesday night. Of course, it's a big night of Premiership action, and that means we are here talking about the football and building up to the big games tonight. And there's two massive ones as well. Joined tonight by Reagan. He is not here at the moment. I think he's doing his warm-up because he's not match fitness at the moment. Ethan is here and Robbie, Robbie is here as well, building up to the games, Hearts against Midland and also Falkirk against Celtic in the Premiership. Before we talk about the game in great detail, let's go to Ethan as he's got the team news for the Falkirk Celtic game.
Yes, for the home team, it'll be the former Celtic goalkeeper in goals, who's obviously signed a contract extension this window. Good bit of business for Falkirk, I think, Scott Bain. Then the back four, McCann, Henderson, Allen and Lisa, unchanged from the game against St Mirren. And then in midfield, you've got the sort of midfield two with the attacking three, captain Brad Spencer, Dylan Tate. No, yeah, it's Dylan Tate, isn't it? Yeah, Dylan Tate. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was Cartwright. No, Cartwright's not on the team. Wilson, Miller, and then in Yates, and then Stewart up top is the Falkirk team. I got there in the end. I was trying to work out how many changes John McGlynn had made from the last game. It's not too many, a couple here and there. And for Martin Neal, he makes only the one change. Rio Hatate drops out for Benjamin Nygren. So it's Kasper Schmeichel and goals, a back four of Kieran Tierney, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty and Araujo. Midfield three of Captain Cal McGregor, Arne Engels and Benjamin Nygren, with the front three of Yang, Dyson Maeda and Sebastian Tenecki, with no Stephen Welsh on the Celtic bench. But he might have been on the bench, obviously, after being recalled for Motherwell, but I think he probably is just there on precautionary basis before Celtic, I'd imagine, try and get another central defender in so they can load Stephen Welsh back out to Motherwell.
There you go, that's the team news from the Falkirk game. Let's go to Edinburgh now. It's funny because it's in his bedroom. It's Robbie, he's got the team news tonight from Falkirk against not Falkirk. They're playing Celtic and Hearts tonight. Falkirk, wow, there's some team. Hearts against Midland. Robbie's got the team news.
Aye, for what I can work out so far, I believe it's two changes for Derek McKinney's side. Craig Gordon and goal. Actually, it'll be three with Gordon coming in for Swallow, who's obviously got the red card against Dundee. So it'll be Gordon and goals. The back four, Steinwinder, Halkett, Finlay and Harry Milne. It'll be a midfield three. Benny Beningame, Blair Spittle comes into the lineup. And he's joined in there by obviously Cammy Devlin. Then up front, it'll be Kizridis, Claudio Braga and Shanklin leading the line. For Stephen Robinson's men, it's actually a bit of positive team news for once. There was also a lot of talk about injuries and who would play. We do have a number one back, Jamal George starts in goals. It's a back three, Marcus Fraser, Miguel Freckleton and Richard King. Two wing backs, Declan John and Conor McMenamin. In the midfield, he's actually gone for four tonight instead of the usual three. He's gone for Alex Gogic, Killian Phillips, Ocean Smith, and then Roland Adowo was just sitting right in front of them. And then leading the line for St Mirren is Michael Mandron, of course. Alan Campbell is once again on the bench. He obviously made his debut against Falkirk last weekend. And as far as I'm aware, Jake Young's not travelled with the squad tonight, although I believe he has signed with St Mirren. He's just yet to be announced, so he'll not be in for this game, but I imagine he'll be in for Livingston at the weekend.
There you go, that's the team news. Talk about the game in Falkirk against Celtic in a minute or two. Robbie, St Mirren, they're up against it tonight. They're not going in a good run of form, but it's you never know what happens tonight.
Well, I mean, Michael, 3 games played, 6 goals conceded, 1 scored. It's not great reading for the stats, to be honest with you. I was obviously at the Falkirk game at the weekend, and we get absolutely picked apart by John McGlynn's team, and that's why I'm excited for the Falkirk Celtic game, because Falkirk are playing quite good stuff right now. I was very impressed. A lot of good attacking talent going forward, but they're so strong defensively as well. But it needs to be a big performance for us tonight. We've brought back in Ocean Smith from Partick Thistle. He goes straight into the team sheet. No surprises there, to be honest with you. Fraser Taylor's, in my opinion, no good enough for St Mirren. I've had this debate with a few people saying, oh, but he's still young, he's 23. If you're no good enough to get in a Premiership team at 23, the chances are you're probably not going to be. He's way out in my opinion. So Ocean Smith come back in was the correct choice for me. A very decent midfielder for what I've heard for Partick Thistle fans. He had a good spell over at Firhill, and he'll come in having played some games, so I'm excited to watch him back in action. But it's like Michael, I think it's a team that we needed to see. We needed to see some sort of tactical tweak for Robinson. It's been too easy for teams to break us down and beat us. And he's gone for that with Roland Adobo sitting in behind Michael Mandron. It's a big game for Mandron as well. He's been right off it, to be honest with you. Dan and Lunderloy obviously drops at the team, so I'm excited to see this game. Obviously, I'm a bit terrified the fact that we're playing top of the league when we're on a 3-game losing run, and can't really score any goals in the last 2. So I am a bit worried in that aspect. But Robinson's made changes, and we just need to hope they work.
Yeah, I think the thing that maybe probably gives you and a lot of the other St Mirren fans confidence is that out of all the teams in Scottish football, I think you've got to say St Mirren are the team that's done the best against Hearts this season. Obviously, they avoided defeat against them in the league and knocked them out in the League Cup. So if any team's going to go to Tynecastle and win based off this season, you would have to say that St Mirren are one of those favourites, even though, of course, the league form and the league position would tell you different. And I think St Mirren will get a result soon. I think Stephen Robinson's too good a manager, and St Mirren have got too good a squad there. You've seen what they've done against 2 of the best teams in the league, especially, and Hearts, on top of Hearts, in the League Cup by beating Motherwell and Celtic convincingly in the semi and final of that League Cup run on to lifting the trophy. So, yeah, I think there's a result coming for St Mirren soon, and I think there will be a turnaround. Whether maybe they've left it too late, I know it's still very early in the season to make a push for that 6th place. We'll obviously see how 6th place at the moment got on tonight at home to Celtic. I think it's going to be 2 really interesting games. Obviously, Hearts and Celtic go into the games as favourites, but I could easily see St Mirren or Falkirk causing what you would say a little bit of an upset, because Falkirk have been on an excellent run and St Mirren are always capable of pulling out a result under Stephen Robinson, especially against Hearts this season.
I think our home form against Hearts is actually historically quite good, to be fair. Our away form at Tynecastle, it's up and down, to be honest with you. There's been some games where we've went and get a good result. I don't think we've won there since 2023, so it's going to be an interesting game. I'm optimistic. I always am. You know that, guys. I can always try and be as positive as possible, and I do think there is areas of Hearts we can attack. I don't think Steinwinder's Hearts' particularly best option, to be honest with you. I'd suspect we'll try and play a lot on his side. But I mean, just on your point, Ethan, we're only 12 points off of Falkirk. We've got 2 games in hand over pretty much every team above us right now. That only takes 4 games to swing it around. So a lot of people, I think, are too quick to jump to the gun. I think there was a lot of frustration after the game at Falkirk, especially on the home end. I mean, Wong at the stadium is as toxic as it's probably been in a while, but at the end of the day, it's a 4-game swing, and teams are going to go on bad runs. Falkirk will go on bad runs. Dundee United, Aberdeen, that's the teams around us. Every team will go on bad runs this season. That no team can be perfectly consistent throughout a whole season. But we're even seeing Hearts, albeit they've won majority of their games. They're dropping points. They've lost a couple, and they're dropping points here and there. They've obviously dropped a few points to us. So every team does that, and teams will do that. So it's about if we can hit that form at the right time and teams sort of start dropping off, then we've got ourselves a good chance. I don't look the other way, to be honest. I don't fear that we're in any type of relegation battle. Although right now, on points wise, we are. I don't see us being there at the end of the season unless something really went wrong, like another 3 or 4 of our players get injured. But I don't see a lot being that bad. So I'm not putting too much expectation on the team. You know what you're facing with Hearts at Tynecastle. They're a tough team. They're playing on high form. Even when they go into 10 men, they're still looking composed. They're playing their own game. So it's going to be a really tough game. But even as you correctly pointed out, if any team's going to go to Tynecastle and pick up points, it's going to be us.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think you'll have to put old Craig Gordon at 43 to the test tonight. I think there was a few Hearts fans. Maybe I'm completely misreading this, or I've just made it up in my head, but I think there was a few football fans, maybe Hearts fans, debating whether if Craig Gordon puts in a good performance tonight, then can he compete again for that number one spot? Because the save he pulled off the other day at Dens Park in the last minute was remarkable. It was a save of the season, the context of it, and ultimately a lot of Hearts fans, I think Graham included, was saying that it was one of the biggest wins of the season, if not the biggest win of the season for Hearts, in the context of one of those wins where you just grind it out with 10 men, playing with 10 men for over a half of the game. So it was an excellent win for Hearts, and yeah, as you said, they'll be high on confidence off the back of 2 wins to bounce back from the derby disappointment against Hibs. But yeah, I think both games will be really interesting. I could see goals and for all 4 teams.
Hopefully not too many for Hearts. That's probably my main concern. I think when confidence is so low at a club, it can be so easy to drop the heads, and if we concede one early on, I'm sure we'll probably be packed at Tynecastle. I'd assume anyway. They'll be wanting to get right behind the team for the night. If we go a golden early in this game, I dread to think what the players' heads will do. I think they'll massively drop, and you could see a rough night at the office, as they say. But no, it's such a even I don't know about you, but it's such a weird 2 games to look at in prospect. They're so difficult to predict, and I'm sure we're going to predictions later on the show and near the end. But they are just 2 really tight games with 4 really tight teams that know how to get results against each other.
Yeah, exactly that. And yeah, I think it will be a really difficult game to. But I think Hearts are favourites at Tynecastle, and I think Celtic go to Falkirk as favourites as well. Obviously, with the league positionings and the budgets and everything else that comes with it. But yeah, I think there could be an upset. I don't know if there is going to be an upset. I don't know what game it will happen in, if there will be one. Maybe both teams will pull off a result, St Mirren and Falkirk, because they definitely get the capabilities, and I think that's what we've seen in the Scottish Premiership this season, that every team's, well, I'd say almost every team, maybe leave Livingston and Kilmarnock out of it at the minute, but almost every team in the Scottish Premiership is capable of taking points off anyone else in the league.
Listen, I'm not leaving Livingston out of anything. We play them two times in 4 days. I don't want to say anything bad about Livingston, because I know that it's going to be the most similar thing ever that we'll go to Tynecastle and win 1-0 and then lose both Livingston games and out of the cup and all that. But no, you're right. I think it is that type of season where, even Celtic struggled at Livingston. And I know I'll get hit back with it, or it was Wilfred Nancy, it was this and it was that. But, you still need to be on top of your game to beat Celtic. That's why Celtic did pick up wins against Aberdeen and Livingston, that they did show that quality in the end. But it is such a strange league this season. But honestly, they're still up in the balance where people will finish. And I think that's what's exciting about it, to be honest.
I think that one of the points that you make, even as well, I know it's further on in the season as well, halfway through the season, but that save Craig Gordon made, that was, I would say that was a goal in itself, especially for Hearts. I mean, that was at the end of the game as well. But these kind of saves would kind of like win your leagues.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think if Hearts do go on to hold on to the space they're in now, top of the league, and do lift that league title, then that will be a moment that I don't think Hearts or the Hearts fans will let Craig Gordon forget in his career of highs and of course lows as well. And I think it's very good. It's very nice. I think everyone enjoys seeing Craig Gordon still playing at the age he's at. It's remarkable how well he's looked after himself throughout his career, that he's still able to contribute and pull off some excellent saves as well, because it's easy for goalkeepers at that age just to have a bit of a sort of place in the background and just maybe, I don't know, give their tips and their wisdom to the younger goalkeepers. But no, he's had to be brought out of the cold when Swallow gets the red card at Dens, and he makes a few good saves and then a remarkable one at the end, which you would be saying is a remarkable save of any goalkeeper made it, never mind someone who's 43. And I think we're getting to the point where if Craig Gordon can get a run in that Hearts team, which I don't know if he will be able to, because Alexander Swallow's been really solid since he's come in. He's made a few errors here and there. Obviously, the red card will go down as a mistake also. But yeah, it would be excellent to see Craig Gordon get a run in the team, especially if Steve Clarke's got any faults of playing him and starting him as their goalkeeper at the World Cup, because it's obviously a bit of a problem position for Scotland at the minute, especially with Angus Gunn getting little to no minutes at Nottingham Forest, although I believe he was looking to move out this window, so hopefully he gets a move away from there and he can get regular game time and we have another option in him.
Of course, Michael, just sort of touch on team news. I know we said about the starting 11. Of course, new Hearts player. Sorry, just quickly, of course, Hearts player Chesnikov makes the bench. And I know they've also signed Rogers Mattle, who obviously will join in the summer. But it's interesting to see Hearts getting their business done early, getting the players in that they want. Again, recruitment seems to be on top form. Chesnikov is getting a lot of praise for people who have watched them in different leagues and all the rest of it. So I reckon Hearts have hit a nail on the head, and it's what they need today. I mean, you've seen Rangers sign a few players. Obviously, we'll get into talking about Celtic, I'm sure. Ethan, I don't know if you are, but I'd probably be disappointed that Celtic are yet to really make any big moves in the transfer window. Of course, Stephen Welsh came back to the club, but I would have been after a striker straight away, to be honest with you. So I obviously we're going to talk about that, but it's just, Michael, it's interesting that Hearts are getting their business so early, and they're signing guys like Chesnikov that are so high rated and get so much praise elsewhere, and yet Derek McInnes is brave enough to be patient with him and really take time to bed him into the team.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. And I think, I don't know if any of you's actually seen the Rogers Mata, is it the winger they signed on a pre-contract that apparently the club back in North Macedonia, FK, is it something Vaduz or something along those lines? I'll have to find it. But they were saying that they had sold him to an MLS club, but so there was a bit of concern there that he wasn't going to be a Hearts player, but Hearts have assured the supporters that he will be their player come the summer, and it looks like a really good signing. I think he's got 16 goals in 18 games or something along those lines. I'll get the exacts of the club and the numbers, but yeah, really good bit of business from Hearts again. And obviously the two they've brought in already, Chesnikov, a lot of hype, as Robbie said, and we've seen Jordi Altena already put a brilliant delivery into the box for Craig Halkett's header against Livingston. So yeah, I think that they are on top form when it comes to recruitment. They've probably got the best scouts in the league, you would have to say, at this current moment, based off the resources they have and the players they're able to sign and how successful the signings have been compared to what Celtic and Rangers have done. We're yet to, obviously Celtic have brought Araujo in, who looks like an improvement on any right backs that they've got. We're still to see really much of Rangers. I know they announced another signing today, Tour Romans. So they've got two signings now. I think Robert
Skov Olsen will be signing as well.
So it's Andre Skov Olsen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he's. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet, but apparently that's a done deal as well. So yeah, Rangers look like they're being very active. Celtic, on the other hand, less so. But I think we've come to expect that.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's Hearts and St Mirren. We'll get the guys' predictions before we go. By the way, that's the quarter kickoff. Let's go over to the Falkirk Stadium then. Falkirk against Celtic. Of quarter-to-8. Before we hear from the guys about the game, I spoke to a Falkirk fan, a big Falkirk fan. He's always on the show, Alan Risk, about the game tonight, and I was speaking to him about the season so far, and I was speaking to him about the new signings and Scott Arfield going to Livingston, and obviously tonight's game. And this is what I spoke to him about the game tonight. The signing that you've made against Scott Arfield moving away to Livingston. What's your thoughts ahead of tonight's game?
It's exciting. I think John McGlynn's been in the press and said that it's a free hit, and it certainly feels like that. The last couple of results against Celtic have been poor. Well, the last one in particular, 4-0. Martin O'Neill's first game, the first time round this season. So we expected that. And I think not under normal circumstances, we'd think, oh, well, we could get a really tough game and a bit of a doing here again. However, it's at Falkirk. We've got a wee bit of momentum with back-to-back wins, and we feel optimistic. We're in the top 6 and 5 points clear. This is a game in hand, so it's a free hit. And at Falkirk, at home, in front of 7,000, anything can happen.
Yeah, no, and there'll be a good atmosphere from Falkirk and Celtic as well on the game. I mean, what's your take on, like, we're halfway through the season and you've did well under John McGlynn again. John McGlynn's a brilliant manager, but how do you kind of like assess the season so far?
Over the moon, obviously. I think in our wildest dreams, some of us would have hoped and wished for top 6. To even be in the conversation is incredible. I think there's 99% of the support would have taken 10th, would have taken safety. And I'm still of the belief that safety is still the first priority. However, to go into this stage of the season in the conversation and with it's a cushion that could go away after a game or two, but to be in the conversation of top 6 is just incredible. When you look at the teams above us and the money that people spend, even the money that Dundee United and Aberdeen spent, St Mirren won the cup, like the money that Livy are spending now again, and obviously Dundee have shown they're a good side. It's the fact that we are in the top half, and given where we've come from and fan-owned club and the money and the lack of money we've spent and just finding good players, hungry players who have managed to take on this journey. Oh man, like absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing.
There's two players coming into Falkirk, but one player is left for Livingston, and that is Scott Arfield. I don't know about you, but I was actually quite surprised at that move. That's a good move for Livingston, I would have to say, but like you must be a bit devastated how he's away till the end of the season.
I think it took when the club announced his departure. He wasn't in the squad for, I think it was Dundee, and we lost that game 1-0. It wasn't a 1-0 game. It should have been a draw, but that's the way the tightness is in the league, and they were on a good run. And he wasn't in the squad, and there was rumours. It was never confirmed, but there was rumours that he was in the hospitality down at Rangers. And then later it came out that he'd already had conversations with McGlynn by that stage, that in this stage of his career, when it might be one of his last seasons, maybe I'll have one more, but he just wants to play football, which is totally understandable. And McGlynn obviously had an honest conversation, and he was only getting 10 minutes every other game. He'd been massive. Obviously, he'd come in the January before. He's the reason that we managed to keep the momentum going and win the league. So he done his job. He took us back up. He scored the winner against Motherwell earlier this season. No many teams will be able to say that, especially at Fir Park. So he's done a job in this league already. However, McGlynn's style of football it's energetic, it's high tempo, and it favours younger, energetic, hungry players. And as much as Arfield is a benefit to any team, I just don't think he was happy with the role of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or coming on to see out a game. I just don't think that's what he wanted out of his last year or two of his playing career. And so I think what it sounds like, we've terminated the deal with him mutually, for game time being the only reason. And Martindale's obviously had a conversation with him that can guarantee him game time. So he came off the bench, obviously, at the weekend. And a lot of us are thinking that it could well be another relegation on his CV, because I just don't think that's enough in Livingston to keep them up.
So Arfield's away. 2 new signings in the door. Are you happy with the signings?
Well, I think by this stage at Falkirk, you just trust McGlynn. Any of his signings, you just trust them. The recruitment team at Falkirk, I think we've got a couple of more scouts we brought in this season with the Premiership money, and we've got relationships at Newcastle with Jack Ross and Ross Wilson. So that was who was pivotal in bringing Ben Parkinson in. So he's a striker, can play as a winger. He came on for Barney Stewart at the weekend, up front for the last maybe 15 minutes of the St Mirren game, and he looked very, very sharp. Was unlucky not to get a goal. If a better cross had come in, he would have scored, and fought really hard to keep the ball in play and create another few chances. So he's a guy I'm really excited to see, and by all accounts, Newcastle fans are saying that I think he had one appearance for them, and it just injuries kind of hampered his development. So he just needs a run of games, and we've got him for a fee, which is unusual. Again, paying money for somebody. Newcastle have got a sell-on fee, so I think he'll get minutes against Celtic. That's going to be exciting. The other guy, we brought him from Sheffield United as a number 10, Louis Marsh. Again, prospect, played for their under-21s, had a few games and been on the bench all season for their first team, and had a few games, but just needs playing. And I think that's what McGlynn's done. We tend to favour being the second loan spell for a club, and obviously he's done so well this season with Philip Lissa, Ethan Williams, Wilson, Cartwright. There's loads and loads of players in the squad who've come in on loan and been brilliant for us. We've only really had to send one back. That was the Trey from Sunderland, he wasn't quite physical or energetic enough, but McGlynn gets it right, and I think these two guys were both attacking players. And I think at the moment, the only thing you'd say we're really missing, Scott Bain's keeping the clean sheets. We just need more goals. And he's brought in 2 attacking players to get those goals.
There you go. That was Alan Risk talking to us about the game from a Falkirk point of view. And it's amazing, Ethan, because when we talk about Celtic with lots and lots of money in the bank, John McGlynn hasn't got any sort of budget like that, yet they're pulling off brilliant results.
Yeah, exactly that. And Falkirk's been a pleasant surprise, I think, but maybe not a surprise to everyone, because I think a few people sort of went about thinking that maybe Falkirk could push for top 6 based on how good they were last season, especially in the first period. I think a little bit of the drop off in the second period, allowing Livingston to maybe come back into the title race, maybe kind of steered people away from that. But it's some achievement to even be in the top 6 consideration, as Alan said. And yeah, their first priority will still, as he said, be avoiding relegation, even though I think they're 20 points clear of Livingston now. So I think Falkirk will be okay. I'm not trying to jinx them or anything. I think they genuinely will be okay. And I think they will be in with a shout of top 6, because I think Aberdeen are in a really difficult place at the minute. Obviously, they need to get a manager in. St Mirren have got a lot of ground to make up, even as the the top six merchants under Stephen Robinson in the last 3 seasons. I mean, Dundee United are a little bit of a difficult one to call because they seem to go on runs of good results and then go on poor runs, and yeah, it's a difficult one to call. But yeah, it'll be really difficult for Falkirk tonight, even though they play at home against Falkirk, which will obviously be easier than going to Celtic Park. I don't think they've hosted Celtic at their ground since they were last in the Premiership. They've had 4 meetings, I think, all at Celtic Park since then, and a game at Hampden in the League Cup. Celtic have won all 5 of those meetings, scoring at least 3 goals in all of them. I don't think that'll be the case tonight. I think Celtic will, if they are to score 3 goals, I think it'll be really good work for them, because Falkirk have been really solid recently. They've only lost 3 of their last 9 games, unbeaten in the other 6, and they've got clean sheets in all of the other 6. So yeah, they're one of the best defences in the league at the moment, and Celtic will need to do a lot to break them down. Although I think, as we've found out after the Dundee United game, Celtic are a whole different team under Martin O'Neill than Wilfred Nancy, and I don't know if it took a genius to work that out, but yeah, I think that's what we've seen based off the evidence pre and post Nancy, and yeah, even Celtic, without strengthening, they should still have too much to go to Falkirk and win. But that's why we watch football, because it isn't always the case, and I think it could be a potential banana skin in Celtic's road to trying to claw the gap back to the Hearts before they obviously head to Tynecastle in a couple of weeks' time.
I mean, Reagan, I might come back on here at 10 o'clock and eat nice humble pie, because that's my new sponsor, Humble Pie in Cuscook. But I think, like, if you're asking a Celtic fan, including you and Ethan, if Wilfred Nancy was in charge, you would be feeling the worst tonight. But I mean, it could still be a banana skin, but because Martin O'Neill's in charge, you know that it's quite optimistic. Still a very difficult game, right enough.
Yeah, and especially with that Celtic squad, I'm not, to be honest with you, like, I'm not a big fan of the Celtic squad this season. I think, look for the squad, I would even say the Hearts squad is a lot better than the Celtic squad this season. It just shows you how far back the squad has been taken by this Celtic board. I just think that they've totally regressed the squad. Now that Martin O'Neill is on his phone book daily trying to get people in, it just shows you. And I wouldn't actually celebrate the Celtic board for the signings during Ange Postecoglou, because I'm told in very good authority, Michael, that during Ange Postecoglou's tour, it wasn't actually Celtic that were getting the deals done then. It was through Ange Postecoglou's agent as well that Celtic got Kyogo, they got Rio Hatate, and they got Maeda. So that just shows you where Celtic board really sit, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, I think, I mean, with a situation like Ange, right, he's always going to have a part to play in bringing these players out. I mean, he knows the Japanese market better than them do at Celtic, really. Like, he's had that experience, so I'm not really surprised to hear that. But the business that Celtic have not done yet in January is slightly surprising to me. And I know Celtic fans will hit back to me going, no, the board never make signings, they always leave it late.
I think it's surprising to any Celtic fans, Robbie. I mean, I've been saying as soon as the window shut in August, the Celtic needed us 2 strikers in the window, and the fact they've not even got one in yet is.
Well, that would be my question to you, Reagan. The window shut in August. What have the Celtic recruitment team been doing since August? How Celtic not even pinpointed 2 strikers that they could even talk? I mean, we don't know if they're talking to strikers. They might be right now. You know, that they might be doing the deals, and they probably are. But to be this late into January already, you know, the window shuts in like 16, 17 days, and Celtic haven't even signed a proper striker yet. That I'd be questioning what the recruitment team have been doing for the last 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's what. Sorry, Reagan. I was just going to jump in there. That's where I think, not to sound to Roy Keane, but there's people that are working at Celtic Football Club that sole job is to identify players, scout them, and obviously try and get the board and whoever's job, the chief executive, Michael Nicholson, the manager, to go and get the deals done. But surely they're looking at a range of hundreds and thousands of players throughout the season so that they can go as soon as it hits January or even just before January. I'm saying that's surely what they should be doing. And I think we give lots of praise to teams like Hearts for doing their business early and how good they've been in the recruiting side of it. But I think for a club like Celtic, that should be the bare minimum, surely. And I think if it was, it seems like if it was anywhere else, then people would lose their jobs, because it is just sheer incompetence to recruit properly and bring in the players required. And they've obviously, at first, it looked like they were risking the qualification for the Champions League, which they obviously risked, and it came back to bite them. Now that they're putting well in risk the chance of retaining the league title, with Hearts and Rangers more active in the transfer window and ahead of them in the league table.
What I'd say, sorry, Regan, on you go.
No, I was just going to say, I find it interesting as well that Motherwell's probably got the best few strikers in the league at the moment, and they've just signed a striker yesterday as well. That just shows me that a team like Motherwell's got mass money, saying just, who Mike always talks about, they're two great forwards, and Motherwell's went on to add more players, and Celtic have known for months they need players in. They've been crying out for two strikers because Osman's been injured for a long time, and Ian actually, you might as well just tell him to pack his bags and go, because he's spent more time in the Celtic Park's treatment table than anything else.
Michael, to sort of, I mean, look, as well, look, signing players doesn't necessarily need to happen in January, you know. You don't need to wait for the window to open up to announce a signing. You know, you can sign them on pre-contract before the January window opens. A few clubs have done that in Scotland. You know, we could spend all night ranting about the sort of Celtic transfers, but I do want to bring it back to the game in Falkirk, because hearing from Alan there, I thought he spoke very well. And obviously, you know, when you watch them in person, I've only seen them a handful of times. Getting to watch them last weekend, you can see that high intensity, and that's why after the match, I sort of thought about it and went, that's probably why Scott Arfield left. I don't think he could maybe handle that, and you know, that's no bad on him. That's just his age, and you know, him wanting to play some more regular football. So fair play to him. But you know, John McGlynn, Mike, I said this to you before the show. 3 years, 8 months, and however many days ago, John McGlynn joined Falkirk in League One, 6th place. 3 years later, he's got them in top 6 in the Scottish Premiership. That's got to be highly recognised, and the job that he's done, the Falkirk fans, I'm surprised if not built the man a statue, to be honest, outside the Falkirk Stadium, because the guy deserves it. And the fact, I was saying this to you before, that the fact that he's not been touted for a bigger job and not really been pitched away yet is surprising to me, to be honest. But it shows he cares in the Falkirk project and he cares in that club. And I think this is, and I'm trying to go back and re-jog my memory of all the games that Martin O'Neill had the first sort of reign earlier in the season. And of course the Rangers game and the Hibs game springs to mind, the two tough games. But to me, guys, this is one of the toughest games Martin O'Neill's had to face yet. You know, he's facing a right in-bang Falkirk team, a home crowd that's going to be packed out of the rafters. They're going to be right behind the team, a team that's high on confidence, a team that are really good attacking wise. He's added more attackers to the list. For me, this is Celtic's toughest game under Martin O'Neill so far.
And don't forget, guys, it's don't forget that a Martin O'Neill team has not played on a plastic surface yet as well. But I would maybe caveat that and say it's one of the better surfaces even in Scottish football.
Yeah, as it's not your plastic pitch of certainly Livingston of old, I would say, before they got the upgrade in the close season there. But yeah, it's a good surface that Falkirk have, and it's a good stadium as well. I think Alan was speaking about 7,000 fans. They sold a great number of season tickets, and that's what it's for, to welcome teams like Celtic. They've obviously been away from the Premier League of Scotland for a while, and it's great to have them back in, because they're obviously a well-supported club, and they've contributed a lot on the pitch this season as well. you look at what Livingston have done the last couple of times. I'm not having a go at Livingston, but you look at the last couple of times they've come up. Obviously, they came up the last time and went straight back down in pretty convincing fashion. There wasn't really anyone else that was close to them, and you could see the same thing again this season. But Falkirk are up there, and it's something we've actually seen for a few of the teams that have come up. In contrast to Livingston, Dundee United done it, Dundee done it recently. So I think there is that opportunity if you recruit well before the season starts in the summer, then you can have a real go at this league, and that's exactly what Falkirk have done. They've added to the experienced core of the squad that's been there for a while through League One and the Championship wins, and they've got a real winning mentality throughout the squad. You add the experienced players like Scott Arfield. Okay, maybe it didn't work out as well as what John McGlynn and, of course, Scott Arfield himself would have wanted to. Brian Graham's chipped in with a few goals. Scott Bain's been a really solid addition as well. So, yeah, he's got it right. John McGlynn and Alan speaking about just backing him and trusting John McGlynn to know to bring in the right players. And we'll obviously hopefully see the two new guys they brought in from down south. Obviously, he mentioned that the striker from Newcastle, Parkinson, is it? Ben Parkinson come on at the weekend. We've still to see Louis Marsh. So they look like two talented players who can contribute to Falkirk as well. So, yeah, they've got a really solid squad there. I think it was the one change you made tonight. I was trying to get my head around it earlier. It was Cartwright dropped out for Kyrell Wilson, the winger who's on loan from Swansea City. And what was the other thing? It was FK Vardar Skopje that Hearts signed Rogers Matto from. 15 goals in 17 games this season, which is ridiculously impressive, especially for a winger. And it looks like another excellent bit of business for the Jambos, especially to get him on a free. And it just shows what you can do if you prepare and try and actually inquire about trying to sign players.
Michael, I'm not really surprised about that Cartwright change, to be honest. I thought out of the whole sort of attacking line going forward for Falkirk, I thought he was probably most quiet out any of the players going forward. I don't think it was necessarily bad. I thought every Falkirk player was brilliant, but I thought he was just a less quiet, so I'm not really surprised he's dropped it. But, McGlynn's recruited that well that he can do that. If a player's having a quiet day at the office, he can just take him off and put somebody else in. That's how good the recruitment's been. And Michael, I know you and Alan spoke about Scott Arfield, another player that I actually spotted for the first time in a while when I was at the game, and I actually forgot he even played with him. I wouldn't be surprised now if Brian Graham maybe moved on. I think what you'll find with Brian is maybe he's feeling in the same boat as Scott, that he wants to be playing more regularly. He knows he's maybe not got too long left. Maybe you'll see him move on. Maybe that's why they've brought in that striker for Newcastle. But I do think he's another one of the players like Arfield that will move on at some point to try and get more game time.
Okay, it's our favourite bit of the show, guys. Get off that fence. It's prediction time. Let's start with the game at Tynecastle between Hearts and St Mirren. Now, I've been warned, Ethan, that if we don't predict a St Mirren win, Robbie won't be back in the show. So,
I'll predict a St Mirren win.
What's that?
I'm predicting a St Mirren win.
So I'm going for a 9-0 Hearts win. Robbie, what about you? I'm full of confidence.
Well, Robbie go first.
Robbie.
Can I get your actual prediction?
Yeah, 10-0 Hearts. No, I'm on the case. I will go. Going to be a very tight game. I could see goals. I could see the confidence maybe getting back up to Stephen Robertson and his team, because it's a brilliant atmosphere at Tynecastle. So I will go 2 each.
Oh,
I'd snap your horn off for that now, to be honest with you. I'm like Neil Lennon against Barcelona. Take a draw now, but I'm going to be more optimistic than I'm probably letting on. I'm going 1-0 St Mirren and Ocean Smith to score a free kick.
Oh, that's some prediction. I'm going to go with St Mirren to score, but to be outscored by the 1 goal. Another slender win for Hearts. I think they'll win 2-1. yeah, I think it is a really tough game to call, but I think it'll just about be a Hearts win.
Well, on paper, a lot of people are predicting Hearts to win this about 4 or 5. So, I mean, like form certainly showcases that. But I think I like to think our defence is too good to be conceding 4 or 5. To be honest with you.
Yeah, well, you look at the last 2 games they played. They beat Livingston. I know they played with 10 men for a lot of the game, but Dundee and Livingston, 2 of the weakest defences in the league, and they only beat them by the odd goal. And St Mirren are one of the better defences, especially in the bottom half. I think only teams in the top half have conceded less goals than St Mirren, so not the worst defence for sitting 10th in the league. So yeah, I don't think they'll go there and get hammered, but maybe they will. I don't know. It's just
let's go to the Falkirk Skiggen then. Falkirk against Celtic. And Robbie, what about you in this game?
I'm going to go 2 shockers. I know Ethan mentioned earlier. I'm going to go 2-1 Falkirk.
Oh, the first domestic defeat of Martin O'Neill's. Both second and third spells. I think there could be a twist in this game, but I don't know. Oh, it's difficult. I really don't know. I think I'm going to go with Celtic to win by 1 goal. I think it'll be a 1-0 win for Celtic. It won't be pretty, but they'll get the job done under Martin O'Neill.
I love how, by the way, Reagan subbed himself off before predictions because he didn't want to get them.
It's because he's brilliant at predictions. He always gets it right. As well.
Well, they got it right in the weekend. I think that's him just bowing out while he's
he can retire now. I'll go for it's going to be a tight game, but it's going to be an away win for me tonight. I will go Falkirk 0, Celtic 2.
Oh, clean sheet. Oh.
Yep. So we'll see what happens. So that's for Reagan for making a 2-second appearance tonight, a cameo role.
Come on him on a bit the board. He came on him on a bit the board.
Yeah. Now the way again. I think he's in Michael Nicholson's house tonight watching the game. I'm not sure. So thanks to Ethan and thanks to Robbie for joining us on the show tonight. We'll be back for the late shift at 10 o'clock to look back in the how's Michael Nicholson getting on, Reagan?
He's doing well. I was just booking his taxi.
Yeah. We were just getting predictions there because I know that you're on a roll after the weekend. Not a Danny roll, just a roll. Hearts against Mirren, Reagan.
Hearts 4, St Mirren 1.
Oh, bro, that's what you came back for, bro.
That's me and Ethan just went on a sprayer going, nah, St Mirren aren't that bad to get barred.
I did see Robbie St Mirren get Ayunga. He's injured, is that right, Robbie?
Ayunga's injured, Mark O'Hara's injured. There's another one that I'm forgetting. Keanu Bacchus is out long term as well.
Yep, so I'm sorry to say that, Robbie, but I think 4-1 for Hearts against St Mirren.
No, I've heard worse, to be honest with you. I've heard worse predictions for this game, so
what about right? Yeah. what about the game at the Falkirk Skiggen between? Funny enough, Falkirk. That's why they're calling it the Falkirk Skiggen against Celtic.
Falkirk 1, Celtic 2.
Oh, there you go.
A last minute goal for Celtic.
Who will what be?
Casper Michael.
Yeah.
Martin O'Neill.
I'm going to go for Colby Donovan.
That's a shout.
Get your money on it.
No, don't. Gamble responsibly, please.
Colby Donovan for the winner for Celtic.
There you go. So we'll be back at 10 o'clock tonight, looking back over the game. That's to Reagan, Robbie, and what's your name? Ethan, and we'll see you at 10 o'clock. remember to subscribe to the channel, the Scottish Football Zone, and we'll be back at 10 o'clock.
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions